The Power Trading Hour with your host, David White. Call now, toll free at 1-877-927-6648 or internationally at 727-873-7618. Now, David White.
And welcome all to another excellent edition of the Power Trading Hour. And, I had something going on here. Got some alarms going off. Forgive me just a second here. Let's get this thing taken care of. I don't know why the alarms would go off. Maybe there's something triggering here in the background. As always, though, we come to you at the appointed time. And, of course, we'll have to do that again.
The following takes place between 2 p.m. and 3 p.m.
Okay, so I got everything working here, and we'll take a quick look to go back to this, because we do have a lot. We were down about 26 points. Now we're down about 19 on the S&P cash. The worst of the offenders was the Dow. It dropped down to about 400. And again, higher interest rates are not symmetric across all areas. The Dow tends to be bigger companies, and of course they have to get loans for much larger types. They're not startups where people are throwing money at them left and right. So if you're a Caterpillar and you have to if you have to build a new facility, you're probably going to be loaning or getting a loan and having a fairly decent interest rate, and whether that goes higher or lower and how easy that is to get. So not really a surprise here to see the Dow the weakest. The S&P 500 a little bit more balanced and a lot more tech in it that doesn't need to go to the well to get cash most times. NASDAQ just slightly positive, up 12 points as we speak. So again, what we want to start looking now at is the volume by the end of the day. And of course, the Fed president's going to start speaking at 2:30. Normally he's over by 3:15. 6.7 billion shares. So it was kind of an average day getting to the point we were at now already. So normally it's a much softer day. So there was a lot of volume and people trading into it. But as I said, I suspect no matter what they say, that there are going to be a handful of people that are just so euphoric about the idea that the market's going higher, that they're going to throw some money at this market. It may be short-lived. The ECB, of course, in the morning, we've got the Fed, or not the Fed, we got fund buying tomorrow, and that probably starts in the morning. So I wouldn't get too short. Probably the best thing that can happen if you're short is that we go sideways for a couple of days. That would tell you that people are just ringing the register, especially on Wall Street. I do have some evidence in my newsletter on a daily basis that's exactly what we're seeing. The big men of Wall Street are not involved in this push higher into the markets. We talked about the OPEC meeting. I'm not exactly sure that that's all. The echoes we have on that are all over, but we are a little bit lower on crude prices. And I think one of the bigger parts that everybody's ignoring is the earnings report from SK Hynix. Now, this is kind of like Micron in that they're a big memory manufacturer, but not as big as Samsung in the way that Samsung makes expensive memory, and not in the way of Micron, who also makes more cutting-edge memory. For the most part, memory that's, let's say, more than 3 or 4 years old in technology tends to be a real commodity, and prices really start to drop. And that is what SK is kind of doing. So you're really seeing a tale where Hincks is telling you, the difference between Micron and Hincks is telling you that people that are buying the very high-end things like video cards, that kind of stuff, are doing at least okay. But the people at the lower end of the rail doing and using inexpensive older generation technology are not doing that well. And it's really been that kind of a tale for maybe a year and a half as auto manufacturers really had to kind of look and see what they could use and what they couldn't. And if they were going to use technology and chips, it better be in their high-end cars so they can afford it. 877-927-6648. First question of the day, I think, is this, which is Pan W. You're just flat out here. You made a, I bet that's going to be about a 50% retrace. No, you got a 618 retrace. That would have been 161.11. You got to 161.23. So you want to dime over the 618 retrace on Palo Alto. You don't have a lot of volume right here. The thing with Palo Alto Networks is their product real good? Well, from everything I read, no. But it's fairly cheap. And in an effort, if you're in a big company, to act like you're doing something, does it put a barrier up against hacking? Well, sort of. Is it as good as many of the other products from other companies? No. But if you're a big CEO and you go, well, we can buy this from this company, and it's half the price for at Palo Alto, I'll just choose Palo Alto, even though I know it's not going to work that good. It looks like we're actually doing something against hacking, but not so much. So I've never been a big fan of this company in that they don't really have stuff that will work at the highest levels. But at the lowest levels, if you're trying to keep the script kiddies out, that's the 12-year-olds that find scripts that don't take very long to figure out how to hack into your neighbor's PC, that's one thing. On a higher level, of course, business, if you give it enough time, the North Koreans can break into about anything. In fact, a very interesting article on Bitcoin yesterday, maybe it was the day before, about how $4 billion was stolen from Bitcoin in all of 2022. The more interesting part was that $2 billion of that actually came from North Koreans who have an active theft ring going on for Bitcoin, and one of the easier ones to steal the money from. They used to go after American banks a bunch, but we shut down a great deal of their ability to get it out of the country, at least in the U.S. But kind of interesting. Anyway, we'll keep an eye on the market. We're down about 7 points now on the S&P cash. More interesting will be what the Fed president says. And again, he can go back and forth till about 3:15 until we actually get the end to this. We'll be back in a minute.
Currencies, commodities, and bond markets are as important as ever right now with how they're driving the volatility in equity markets across the globe, which is why it's a great time to try out Teddy Kegstat's Tiger Forex Report. Teddy Kegstat breaks down the Forex markets every Monday using his 30-plus years of experience as a trading veteran of futures, Forex, stocks, and options. Teddy releases his weekly Tiger Forex Report every Monday morning with coverage of all the major currency pairs, including the dollar index, the euro dollar, pound dollar, dollar Swiss, dollar yen, as well as many more, and he also has weekly coverage of the crude oil market and the 30-year T-bonds, as they both influence Forex markets tremendously. When you sign up for the Tiger Forex Report, you also gain instant access to Teddy's 60-minute webinar archive he just hosted, Forex Strategies and Fundamentals, What is Behind the Tiger Forex Report. For all the details and to start your 30-day Tiger Forex Report subscription today, visit the front page of TFNN.com. TFNN, educating investors.
Are you grinding in the market, but seeing little to no return? Or are you a successful trader, simply looking to make your job a little easier? Learn to take the path of least resistance with David White's powerful trading newsletter. David White is an accomplished trader whose deep understanding of technology and the markets allows him to consistently find and share winning trades. Support and resistance define the ranges in which stocks trade. By understanding these trading ranges, David White is able to find the path of least resistance. David White's trading newsletter, The Path of Least Resistance, is delivered daily before the markets open to make every trading day an easy win. Visit TFNN.com today and subscribe to David White's Ultimate Trading Newsletter for $119 a month. And try all of our newsletters risk-free with our 30-day money-back guarantee. Take the path of least resistance at TFNN, educating investors. Are you looking for a way to consistently add winning trades to your portfolio? Tom O'Brien is here to help. Tom O'Brien has been successfully trading markets for over 30 years. A frequent contributor to TD Ameritrade Network and CNBC, Tom O'Brien founded TFNN over 20 years ago to help educate investors just like you. Tom's daily market newsletter, Market Insights, is published every morning when the markets open to give you the competitive informational edge you need to succeed. These newsletters are packed full of Tom's advanced technical analysis and are geared to deliver comprehensive strategies for a successful portfolio. Get Tom O'Brien's newsletter, Market Insights, today and try all of our products and newsletters 30 days risk-free with our money-back guarantee at TFNN.com. TFNN, educating investors.
Call now, toll free at 1-877-927-6648. Internationally at 727-873-7618.
And we got up to about 5 off on the S&P 500 for the day. We're now down about 16. Dow's down 323.60. So it's kind of saying that, yeah, we do believe Powell that we're going to be raising some rates. You know, down 1% is not that big a deal. NASDAQ just went a little south. It's only about 10 points, which is a rounding error, of course, on the NASDAQ. But we shall persevere, move forward, and overcome, and see what else is going on here today. Did I do something else? On this day in 2013, don't forget to play the history thing today. Netflix introduced House of Cards, the first major TV show that ran exclusively on a streaming service. It was another Netflix innovation that would alter the media landscape, and of course many others to come. But now the big thing, probably the more interesting thing for me this year is that the best movies of the year had nothing to do with streaming services. They were all independent movies. The ones coming out of Disney and Netflix and all the rest, really nothing stood out. The best movies were independent movies. I'm going to say that I don't know what the guys are going to say the best movie was for the big to-do coming up. But I think the best movie of the year they're going to come up with is Everything All at Once, which, again, I think even last year the best thing that was on TV was the South Korean Squid Games. And this year, Everything All at Once, much better, but certainly a lot of that feel from Asia where they're making movies a little bit differently and probably not so much in league with what everybody else is doing. The other great movies of the year were All Quiet on the Western Front, and what was the name? Now I'm a little blanking, but it was the Yeah, I'll think of it in a second here. It was oh boy. Why did I have such a blank? I thought it was the best movie of the year, but again, no cars blowing up, no special effects. If you want that, everything all at once is the acid trip of last year and should have been probably from somebody, but we saw so many movies last year. One where they actually took $850 million to make it, and it was a 5 or a 6 with the all the purple people and flying around and everything. I didn't think that the first movie was that good, and the second one wasn't any better. Anyway, just some random thoughts as we tap dance our way into actually reading some of this stuff, and we're down about 12 points. Okay, let's start getting into the actual movement of the market, and I'll get rid of that, and I can get rid of that. And what we'll do here, I wanted to do this. We'll bring it back up and get into some of the movers today. And now that we've maybe settled down a little bit, didn't want to get in there too hot. Lots of earnings. Take-Two Interactive is one of the two out here in the entertainment computer gaming space. Down a little bit. Can't say that volume is all that exciting. I think probably the bigger one most people will talk about is Electronic Arts, who actually dropped the chalupa today right down to the, let's go a little longer, back to this gap higher that was on 5/11 and of last year. That's May 11th if you live in Lutz. So up on 8 million shares, and of course we're down already on 9. So what's going on here? Well, we had AMD come out with earnings too, and more and more both NVIDIA and AMD are focusing on the high end. As we said in the opening part, it was very interesting to see Hincks and their failures to perform for the South Korean memory. But again, we continue to see people move higher and higher up the scale of expensive parts or that. And of course, we're starting to actually see that hit the game industry, and that is that people just can't afford to keep up and buy another $2,000 video card again this year to be competitive in electronic gaming. Not so much competitive, but even if you just want to play, whoever can spend the most money now seems to be doing the best, or easily the best. You still probably could have all that and still do poorly. But people are just not buying the high-end video games that they did in the levels that they've done before. And most of that is they're spending so much money on hardware to keep up from AMD and NVIDIA. Of course, AMD was up about 3% on average after the earnings call last night. All it did is get back up to this gap down from September 13th. That was on 81 million shares. Now, you do have some pretty good volume already, over 101 million shares. So maybe the whole idea of moving upstream on these parts is pretty good. But I have a feeling that, especially since AMD much more targeted than Intel to the consumer, might have bigger problems going forward. Let's see what else we have out here. Of course, the big loser of the day is WestRock. Is that right? That can't be right, is that? Yeah, it's WestRock. Is a huge gap down. This blew through the gap back to the 4th of November. Let's do this real quick. When I looked at this earlier, I thought it was another company. I should have checked. So, provides fiber-based paper and packaging solutions in North America, South America, and Australia. Of course, that's on the back heels of International Paper, who had a big pop. So kind of a tale of two cities. International paper coming back a little bit today. And not a big surprise. Huge volume yesterday, though. So I think people are not quite as sure of what's happening, especially after that one. Other movers out here, MTCH. Okay. We're going to get to Snap, too. But that one was the big loser. That was off almost 16%. Snap is down about 12.5%. Match Group. This looked like it tried to get back up. It's back into the trading range. Somewhere from $54.50 to $39-ish looks like the trading range for Match Group now. We'll be back in a minute.
If you want to take advantage of this sector, now is the time to subscribe to my Gold Report. The Gold Report is a comprehensive look at the metals sector as well as the markets that move gold, which is the currency and bond markets. New subscribers get a 30-day money-back guarantee, so you have nothing to lose. Every Monday morning, I publish the Gold Report with coverage of gold, silver, bonds, the XAU, HUI, GDX, as well as more than 30 different mining equities. To see for yourself the types of profitable trades that are recommended within the Gold Report, sign up now by visiting TFNN.com. Don't miss out on the next great gold trade. Sign up today.
Sharpening your skills as an investor is like getting better at playing a musical instrument. You have to practice, sure, but you also need excellent instruction from experts. At TFNN, you'll get advice and guidance from the authority in technical market analysis. And it's not just dry, tedious text either. TFNN airs live financial content streamed live on TFNN.com and TFNN's YouTube channel with Tiger TV, live every market day from 8:30 a.m. to 4 p.m. Eastern. For free. Each host is an experienced trader and gives their take on the market while taking calls and questions live from around the world. From the moment the market opens until the closing bell sounds, Tiger TV has 8 different shows with expert hosts to help you make the right moves with your money. Watch online at TFNN.com or on TFNN's YouTube channel and become the investor you were born to be. TFNN, educating investors.
TFNN is excited about our new software charting program, The Art of Timing the Trade Charts. In collaboration with Tom O'Brien and using his best-selling book, The Art of Timing the Trade, Your Ultimate Trading Mastery System, David White has programmed an outstanding piece of software that will complement any trader's methodology. Using this first-of-its-kind program, The Art of Timing the Trade Charts allows you to scan thousands of stocks for Fibonacci formation setups, including Gartleys, ABCs, butterflies, and much more. The Art of Timing the Trade Charts is designed to help you when scouring the markets for stocks just beginning to form the trading patterns that many investors spend days, weeks, or even months searching to find. And right now, we're offering licenses available at only $79 a month. We are so confident that you're going to love this new charted software that will even give you a 30-day unconditional money-back guarantee. Don't miss out on this incredible new piece of software. Get your copy of The Art of Timing the Trade Charts today by visiting TFNN.com.
This segment is brought to you by Thinkorswim. For more information, just click the Thinkorswim banner on the front page of TFNN.com.
And the movie I was thinking of, I thought was the best of the year, was The Banshees of Inisherin. I can't even say it. But the old Irish, Inisherin. I think that's the way it's pronounced. Banshees of Inisherin. And the same bunch, including the same actors and director, made a great movie in 2008 called In Bruges. If you want to catch that one, that was one of my best movies of 2008. And kind of a cult following in it. Anyway, we're waiting for the Fed, who's just pulled up to the podium. So we're probably going to see some big swings here as we go through earnings, which is probably the only thing we can do until he's done. There'll be a lot of swings and misses over the next 45 minutes. Okay, what else do we have out here? Interesting paper. It was down a little bit more earlier, but Western Digital certainly, well, I guess it actually sold off more. It had some issues last night after the bell. Well, actually doing probably a little bit better than it was. I think it was off about 6% when I was looking at it. One of the things I thought was interesting was the narrative that I've been speaking about, and that is eventually these spinning drive companies are going to see that business go away. Micron up a little bit on the day, did release a new or announce a new product yesterday, which is a 30 terabyte SSD in a new form factor that's very fast. And most people would say, okay, well, it's going to be expensive. The problem is that the power of a spinning drive is going to take somewhere between 5 and 10 times as much power as a SSD or pure memory hard drive. And so even though this thing may be expensive, over 5 years, may it pay back itself? It probably can. And of course, any of these things are always going to be expensive, but in about 2 years, you can see it. But sizes larger than spinning drives now to some extent, and it's certainly much faster. So we're probably seeing the first kind of I'm going to say first enterprise level drive now that can compete with spinning drives. Not so much on price to begin with, but you have to power the thing for the next 5 years. And more importantly, for spinning drives, you've got to cool them. And that is between the power supply and cooling them. That can actually add up a great deal more than the cost of the drive over the years you use it in a data center. Seagate up a little bit out here, I think, because they've got some stuff that adds a little bit more competition. But, you know, I've been looking for 5 or 6 years for SSDs to have that kind of tipping point moment. I remember in 2004, everybody was still buying big monitors with tubes in it, and China happened to raise the price of some of the rare earth phosphors that were necessary for the tubes. And suddenly, within about 9 months, we went from 80% of computer monitors and TV monitors being tubes to just the flip of that. And that is 80% of them being LCDs at the time. It was one of the fastest tipping points I'd ever seen, and of course exacerbated by China cutting down access or raising the price of those. So you never know when that tipping point moment happens, but a lot of times it's the price of memory, and of course any kind of memory price drop will significantly mean that Western Digital has more problems, not less, and of course Seagate at the same time. Both living on borrowed time, in my opinion. AMD, and then we'll look at Intel. Nice gap here. As we said, nice gap. Let's take a quick look at NVIDIA. Let's see what we got. S&P now down 30 points. All you have to do is blink. You're up, not much in the way of volume. Probably the more interesting thing out here for NVIDIA is on the 23rd, at 65 million shares, which was the match to the December 13th high. So you matched the volume. I would have liked to seen a little bit better. Ideally, if we are going to have a pullback, NVIDIA does have extremely good setup for about 165 for support. So you may want to write that down. To international fragrances, what else do we have out here? SYK. Striker. Now this went right back up to resistance today, which was the previous high of April 20th. That was 276.50. 1.5 million shares. You had 3 million shares, but you were unable to hold it yesterday. That's a fairly big gap not to get refilled. Even a 50% retracement would take you to 260. Most of these other ones had a lot of movement during the day. Let's take a look at VOD. Okay. This is Vodafone. It had kind of a half-hearted attempt to get back up higher, but I think just if you look at any of these telecommunications companies that are heavy into smartphones, it's all looking a little bit weaker out here, a little gap lower for Vodafone. Let's take a quick look at Apple. So we said yesterday the worst part of Apple is that it's coming right up to and did go right into a resistance level from Confluence that's 144.61. Never really had the volume. It's now back underneath it. That's problematic. The energy probably needed to be a little bit better to break through that level. It was okay, wasn't great, but now you're back under that level, and 144.61 to me would be a good place to say any close above that is where you would have your stop. Actually, if you want to be short Apple, that probably looks about as good as it's going to get. To Mondelez, that had a bigger move pre-market. MDLZ, as we continue to look at. NASDAQ's now up 13, 17. He must have said something. I saw a big move there. Again, one of the reasons why I don't get involved in short and trading very short term during Fed announcements. Okay. Mondelez, yeah, nice move out here. Got to 66.93 today, which is back into this huge down day of the 18th. This thing looked like the end of the world. It went back up and closed that day today, but not holding the high either. We'll be back. We've got a lot more stocks to look at as the Fed continues to do his little dance on the catwalk.
Sharpening your skills as an investor is like getting better at playing a musical instrument. You have to practice, sure, but you also need excellent instruction from experts. At TFNN, you'll get advice and guidance from the authority in technical market analysis. And it's not just dry, tedious text either. TFNN airs live financial content streamed live on TFNN.com and TFNN's YouTube channel with Tiger TV, live every market day from 8:30 a.m. to 4 p.m. Eastern, for free. Each host is an experienced trader and gives their take on the market while taking calls and questions live from around the world. From the moment the market opens until the closing bell sounds, Tiger TV has 8 different shows with expert hosts to help you make the right moves with your money. Watch online at TFNN.com or on TFNN's YouTube channel and become the investor you were born to be. TFNN, educating investors.
The technology around us is changing every day. With so much happening, it can seem impossible to keep up with all the information. David White's investment newsletter, The Technology Insider, is designed to give you all the information you need to understand the technology that shapes today's markets and tomorrow's future. David White has made his living staying on the cutting edge of technology. His weekly newsletter will give you specific recommendations for value tech stocks, as well as entry prices, target prices, and stops to set for each trade. Dave delivers his weekly newsletters every Friday with updates throughout the week. You can get the Technology Insider at TFNN.com for only $37.50. Sign up for David's newsletter, The Technology Insider, and get an inside look at everything the technology sector has to offer. Try it risk-free today with our 30-day money-back guarantee. TFNN, educating investors.
Are China A shares hot or not? If you trade China A shares, now may be time to take a closer look. Trade CHAU or CHAD, Directions Daily CSI 300 China A Share Bull and Bear ETFs. China A shares in either direction. Visit directioninvestments.com today. An investor should consider the investment objectives, risks, charges, and expenses of the Direction shares carefully before investing. The prospectus and summary prospectus contain this and other information about Direction shares. To obtain a prospectus or summary prospectus, please contact Direction shares at 866-476-7523. The prospectus or summary prospectus should be read carefully before investing. An investment in the funds is subject to risk, including the possible loss of principal. The funds are designed to be utilized only by sophisticated investors such as traders and active investors. Distributor Foreside Fund Services, LLC.
This program is brought to you by Vista Gold, traded on the NYSE American and TSX under the symbol VGZ.
And as we're back, market's starting to move in what I think is going to be a blow-off top in the next few days, if not today, maybe tomorrow or Friday. So we'll see. I think we're fairly close. There's a lot of things lining up. I don't have any short positions at the moment. Could just be one wrong word by Powell. Could just be a huge push by the fund buyers in the next couple of days, but I think you should be very close to seeing a significant high for a while in the markets. Everybody kind of whistling past the graveyard, in my opinion, but no signal quite yet. 877-927-6648, which you can always reach me now or catch me at path@tfnn.com. Someone says here in an email that this should be the last hike for a while. I don't think so. And all kinds of people say all kinds of things, but I don't think it is. Okay, being encouraged and correction. Okay. I just have so many emails here. Okay, we got through them. TLT, just a little doji out here. Now we'll see what that brings about by the end of the day. But I don't think you've got a real signal other than this going sideways. Again, I think a lot of people are way pushing this market. Powell doesn't really want to tamp it down or blow it up. But he may have no other avenue at some point if everybody continues to be euphoric in the markets. Okay, what else did we have out here that I wanted to see? Oh, I know what I wanted to do. I wanted to go back to these. Take a quick look at Microsoft. More layoffs from them. Everybody kind of likes it. So far, volume fairly light as it tries to go through the high of the 27th of January. And what do you have here today? 14 million shares compared to 26 and a half on the 27th. So again, could you stumble up to maybe 255? That may be where it's at. Again, fund buying starting tomorrow, kind of probably a bit of jacking the prices up for fund buying has already started. So we'll see about that. Okay, we got that. We got Apple. Question about Netflix. We'll look at that. Okay. Yeah, no volume, but no volume the last 4 days. So I don't see much out here. Resistance comes out at about 380, 375-ish up here. So, yeah, you don't have that much higher. Again, fund buying, you should look for these to push a little higher. And my guess by the end of the day, they're going to have these things up. And if we continue with the kind of very light volume we've had on this move higher or lighter, that will probably set some kind of high in the market. Okay, but not in the next 5 minutes, which I think a lot of people are looking at because of the way the market's moving now. Any horizon past that is tough. Okay, let's go back to that. Okay, look at some other ones. Okay, question about GLD from Jeff. JEF. Oh, what was I looking at here? Oh, gold. GLD from Jeff, excuse me. Okay, come on. There we go. Okay. Yeah, just going sideways out here. Again, this may be one of these seventh waves, and you may just never get the pullback that you ever want. It may just stumble up, go sideways, stumble up, go sideways, stumble up, and generally that can last 2 or 3 years before you see anything, but it's not generally something you trade. I think you got the first move up here. Now it's in the consolidation phase, which may last a while. Okay. Question, take a look at Workday. One of my favorite companies, or at least the people involved in it seem to be rather smart. Back up to the previous high. What do you got for volume here? A million shares. You really wanted something at least 3 million, maybe 10 million shares as you go back into this gap down on May 9th of 2022 that had 6.4 million shares. So again, maybe we get a lot more volume. Maybe something happens tomorrow. But I'm looking for some blow-offs. Let's take a look at Tesla real quick for Ross. You kind of back up to these highs again. Volume's a little less than yesterday on the track. Problem is that you continue to have people short Tesla every day by about 40%. It doesn't mean that they went home that day, but they took a stab at trying to get shorted. Generally, when you get people done with shorting, you find some kind of high. Let's see, what else do we have? Okay. GDX. And it's, the miners are just going to follow the gold. I don't know if there's a lot of magic to be had out here. You're just seeing that in GDX it going sideways back to really the 6th of January. And if the Fed actually does say anything like they're not going to raise rates, that may be the key for the next move higher in gold. But you'd have to probably predict that. Okay. Question about IBB. We'll look at that real quick. Keep them coming, path at TFNN.com. Or, of course, in the Discord app, if you're in the Tiger's Den here. We'll take a quick look. I think I don't know why there hadn't been a lot of effect on biotechs, but I think that eventually the lawsuits and the House inquiry is going to catch up to these guys. They've been playing rather fast and loose with the law and the truth. You've got kind of a nice dragonfly doji out here today on about half the volume. I don't see much one way or the other. We're going to go to the break, and then, of course, we'll be back to wrap up the show. And again, Fed probably going to go on till about 3:15. After that, maybe you start seeing some fund buying. I'm thinking that you're just seeing them ramp it up for fund buying. So I'm not a big fan of being short the next couple of days, but you may actually see blow off tops in many of these stocks.
If you're looking for potential trading setups in the stock market, then Rocket Equities and Options Report is a newsletter you should try. Tommy O'Brien delivers options and equity trades when the markets present them, using a combination of fundamentals and technicals. Sign up for Rocket Equities and Options Report today with a 30-day money-back guarantee, so you have nothing to risk. For all the details and to start your subscription today, visit the front page of TFNN.com. TFNN, educating investors.
You might think that if you want to be successful at trading in the stock market, you're going to need a crystal ball. After all, it's impossible to predict the future, right? Like any endeavor in life, before you decide it's impossible, get some advice from the experts. You might find that it's not so impossible after all. For daily market overviews that give you direction on the key indices, selective stocks, and commodities, subscribe to the Opening Call newsletter at TFNN.com. The Opening Call newsletter is written by Basil Chapman, creator of the trading methodology known as the Chapman Wave. The Chapman Wave up-down sequence gives you an edge in identifying price turns, finding the peaks and valleys in stock prices. Get the Opening Call newsletter by Basil Chapman in your inbox every day. First-time subscribers also get a 30-day money-back guarantee. If you're not satisfied, let us know, and you'll get a full refund within 30 days of signing up. TFNN.com, educating investors.
Everything in the universe is governed by the Fibonacci sequence. This mathematical principle is responsible for everything from the most aesthetically pleasing artwork to patterns in the stock market. To stay on top of stock patterns you can take advantage of, sign up for the Fibonacci 24/7 newsletter at TFNN.com. When you subscribe, you'll get a weekly report from veteran day trader Larry Pesavento on stocks you need to pay attention to. And you can trust Larry's analysis. After all, he's got 45 years experience as a day trader. Larry will also provide daily charts, videos, and data on the key markets that he's tracking. Expect notifications from Larry on market movement you need to act on at any time. First-time subscribers also get a 30-day money-back guarantee. If you're not satisfied, let us know and you'll get a full refund within 30 days of signing up. Subscribe to the Fibonacci 24/7 newsletter today. TFNN.com, educating investors.
TFNN has launched the Tiger's Den. Hosted at Discord, TFNN has been educating traders for more than 20 years with live programming hosted by a variety of professional traders during market hours. The Tiger's Den, available to all tigers and tigresses for just $1 for the year. There's no catch or added costs when you join our community of traders. Sign up today and become a part of this educational community of traders. Just visit the front page of TFNN.com.
Catch Tom O'Brien, professional trader and educator, founder of TFNN. Also, a special guest on CNBC. Tom will bisect and dissect the markets. The Tom O'Brien Show, next on TFNN.
And a question about CF Industries. And of course, they're big into fertilizers, nitrogen, hydrogen, all that kind of stuff. Is there a low in this yet? And it could be. The problem I have is the Great White North, the Canadians, who have a prime minister that is pretty much in love with horrible ideas. One of the horrible ideas he has now is that he doesn't think we should use much in the way of pesticides or fertilizers. And of course, someone finally got to him and said, you know, everybody will be starving if we don't have it. So they're kind of backed off at the moment, but that only means when you have really bad ideas that you just come at it another way. Several other countries are kind of like that too. I would be wary of this until that bad idea goes away, that fertilizers are something we don't need. Without them, we probably, about half the planet would starve next year? So just be careful for it. A lot of these guys are after it. I'm unclear whether or not it's to extort money out of them or if they truly believe it. Hard to ever tell with politicians. But many of them are coming after the fertilizer companies, and that may be a uphill road for a little while until the bad idea gets buried. So just keep an eye on that. That's pretty much it for today. Again, kind of hovering around the 4,100 area on the S&P cash. Kind of broke through that at the moment. And we're up about 0.8%. We'll see what the volume is at the end of the day. The Fed president's still talking, taking questions. So it's not uncommon to see a pullback after this. But again, fun buying. We've got the ECB tomorrow morning at about 7:45 with their announcement. And then more fun buying. Sell when you can, not when you have to. And we'll be back tomorrow.
Building wealth trading in the stock market seems